Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to Target Focus Life. Today we're taking a look at the Fabarm L4S. Lightweight, gas operated, hunting shotgun. We're putting it to the test. So if you're looking for a detailed and in-depth review, you've come to the right place. Let's go! Welcome to our third ever Fabarm review. I'm excited to do this one. It's the L4S Grey Hunter. This is made to be a lightweight field shotgun. They say it's supposed to have very light recoil and handle loads from 2 3/4 to 3-inch magnums very well. We'll put that to the test today for sure, but let's jump in with some specs. This is a 12 gauge and they only offer it in 12 gauge. It is, like I said, made to be a field gun. They do offer L4S and sporting models as well. So there's a lot of similarities between the sporting and this, but this one more specifically made for bird hunting. The MSRP of this shotgun is $2,250. So Fabarm, not your cheap semi-auto shotguns. They're kind of more on the higher end of semi-auto shotguns, but the first two reviews I did of Fabarm really appreciated the stuff they're putting out. Not extremely cheap, but we'll see today if this one lives up to the price point. So the L4S is a 3-inch gun, gas operated. We'll get under the hood, look at their gas system in just a little bit. The manufacturer says, well, depending on barrel length, this is 6 pounds, 5 ounces. That's probably with the 26-inch barrel. Of course, there's some variation in that, depending on wood densities and different stuff. As you can see, this is a wood gun. Let's see what it weighs on the scale. That ain't no joke. They said 6 pounds, 13 ounces on a 28-inch barrel. We got the 28-inch barrel, 6 pounds, 13 ounces. Well, 13.2. Okay, right around 6 pounds, 13 ounces. You get the idea. I mean, it's not the lightest shotgun you're gonna find for upland hunting, but this is a 12 gauge. This is not a sub gauge. That definitely is gonna make a difference. One thing I noticed right off the bat, I'm getting ahead of myself, but it's pretty well balanced and just feels great in the hands. When we look at the length of pull out of the box, center of the trigger to center of the butt end is 14 inches and 3/8. The drop at the comb is 1 3/8 inches, and drop at the heel is 2 1/8. So we're looking at 3/4 inch drop, pretty common in a field gun. A little bit short length of pull for me. Depends what I'm wearing, obviously. If it's cold out, I got more clothes on. The L4S comes with 3 flush mounted chokes. We got the improved cylinder in there, and then they have a couple more that come in the case. Looks like we got a mod and a full. These are inner HP chokes. And one thing that they say they do is they make their chokes very consistent with the barrel. So you're supposed to get more consistent patterns. We're not going to put that to the test today. Another thing I know, or I believe I know, is you can shoot steel out of their full choke. A lot of stock chokes that come with the gun, you cannot shoot steel out of a full choke. Don't take my word for that. Double check that before you shoot steel out of it. But I think I remember seeing that somewhere. There's options for 26 or 28. Like I mentioned, we have the 28-inch on here. And then it does come with shims, right? So you can drop it a little bit, you can raise it a little bit. It comes with a neutral shim. You can also change right or left-handed cast with those shims. Just a few options there, just the 3 shims that it comes with. I went ahead and I raised this stock, so very easy to do in this gun, very slick. Like that a lot. It's close to fitting me. It's not perfect, but there is some adjustability there. No spacers come with this gun, so no adjustment of length of pull. You can do some aftermarket stuff. Put a Falcon Strike on there, whatever you want to do. And if you want to do that, link is in the description. Now taking a look at the ergonomics. This is one of my favorite things to look at. It feels pretty darn good. I like the grip, pretty comfortable reach there to get to the trigger. The checkering looks nice. They got like almost like a more traditional checkering here than like a stippling here. That's pretty interesting. And then you look at the fore end, same type deal. They got a checkering and then a stippling underneath. If you got a long reach, if you like your hand way up there, there is no texture on the muzzle side of the fore end. I'm generally down here. Yeah, that feels pretty good in the hands. Balance-wise, pretty well balanced. I thought it would be a little forward heavy. It's really not. This gun might be a little whippy. We'll see when we get to shooting, but I like the way it feels in the hands. They got a nice matte oil finish on the wood. The wood is, they call it a semi-deluxe Turkish walnut, It's pretty decent looking wood. Honestly, I don't have any gripes about the wood. This titanium finish on the receiver looks awesome with the engraving. They got some scroll engraving on there. They got a couple mallards, looks like. And then just a, whatever design that is, but just a sharp looking gun. Other side, oh, what do we got here on the other side? Looks like we got some pheasants, rooster and a hen. That's pretty cool, game scenes. It's one of the sharpest looking semi-autos. I can say that much for sure as far as the engraving and the game scenes on there. They got a black and matte finish on the barrel, vented rib, silver bead on the front. Looking at the controls, it's a crossbolt safety on the rear. You got such a nice finish here, then this trigger group is just kind of, I don't know what I'd say about it. It looks a little bit cheap to me. I'm sure there's nothing wrong with it. I'm sure it operates, but it looks a little cheap, especially right next to this very fine looking receiver. Where's the bolt release? It's Fabarm. It's on the other side. Which, I don't know, like your hands here, you're loading, right? And then you can just come here, just a slight slide of the hands. I could get pretty used to that. I don't have any gripes about that. This is taking me a little bit getting used to the mag latch release, which you have to press to get the bolt to lock back. Gun's empty, we put one in the magazine. It's not gonna bring one in, right? We have to hit this release, and then the mag latch releases a shell into the receiver and then into the chamber. That's, I don't know, I think you'd get used to that too. It's just different than what I'm used to. You kind of have to just push it from this side, but it's a little bit of layout on the ergonomics, the controls, trigger guard, pretty average size. That's kind of cool, different looking fore-end cap, and there's actually something really unique with this fore-end. We'll get into that when we break this gun down. Let's feel this trigger. Decent feeling trigger. It's not overly light. 6 pounds, 13 ounces. Let's try this once. Probably pushing 7 pounds, over 7 pounds with this trigger, which is a little bit surprising. Let's put it on the scale. Ooh, 6 pounds, 7.1 ounces. 6 pounds, 1.8 ounces. Interesting. This gun's 6 pounds, 13 ounces, and when I held it, it didn't break. Well, let's do one more. 6 pounds, 9.6 ounces. So, yeah, we're averaging about 6 pounds, 6 ounces. So it's a little bit lighter than I thought it was. It felt a little heavier. There's no perfect science to that, and I am often wrong. But hey, what do you do? Let me try this one more time. Just because of the weight distribution, I just had to tilt it a little bit and it broke. Okay, it's not a perfect test doing it that way. It gives you an idea. Trigger, I don't know. It feels decent. We'll see when we get to speed shooting at the end and when we're actually shooting this gun. Maybe I expect it to be a little bit better, to be honest. But I'm not going to judge till we get through all the shooting and all the stuff. And then we'll give you the final feedback on this L4S. All right, y'all, it's time to get some shots downrange. We're going to look at recoil and reliability on this shotgun, see what she's made of. We're just going to start out with some target loads, Federal Top Gun, 2 3/4 inch, 1145s, ounce and an eighth, 8-shot. We got a plug in there. Let's just take one off the machine here. All right. She's got some punch to it. It's a little bit lighter gun, so I get that. I got to run a few more rounds through it. Well, maybe a little bit more recoil than I would anticipate for a gas gun. Now, this recoil pad is not doing anything, really. It's a hard rubber pad. If I was going to shoot this gun, I think I would definitely put a Falcon Strike on it. Not that this is hard-hitting gun, but we're only shooting target loads. So, there we go. There we go. There we don't go. Doesn't feel too bad. The recoil kind of straight back into my shoulder, but those are target loads. Let's up the ante a little bit. What if we were shooting some steel Federal Speed Shock, 1,450 feet per second, ounce and a quarter. We'll put a couple rounds in there and bust through those. This is, to me, more of an upland gun. It's not really a waterfowl gun, but let's give it a try. I didn't shoot that very well, did I? I can feel that puppy. We'll do that one more time. There we go. There we go. Now I'm on with the L4S. Yeah, that had some punch, you know, primarily straight back into the shoulder. Not too bad. This gun doesn't fit me perfectly, and that's a little bit of why I might be experiencing recoil the way that I am. We're gonna go to some pheasant loads. We got the Federal, Prairie, Storm, and I would know what this was if my camera guy didn't rip the top off. I'm not bitter. I'm not bitter at all. Here we go. Pheasant gets up, flying across. Oh! Oh my gosh! Holy smokes! That was ripping, man. I'm gonna shoot a number 1. Pound. Now let's go with 3. Frick! Where's the lid to this? Thank you, sir. 1,500 feet per second, 1.25 ounces. These kick a lot more than those steel did. Holy smokes. Quite a bit of recoil. I thought it'd be a little bit less. I think throwing a different recoil pad on would be better. It's a lighter gun. I guess it's probably not out of the norm to have that much recoil, but they're hitting hard today, folks. Maybe I'm getting soft in my age or something. Reliability wise, you know, I think Fabarm makes very reliable, consistent cycling guns, but we're gonna have to put that to the test. We're gonna go back to target loads. If it can run this, it can run anything. Oh, from the hip, not a problem there. Let's go to a little over the head shooting. Yeah, she's running smooth. Very reliable system on this gun. I figured as much, but I'm not gonna shoot 100,000 rounds for this, or 10,000 rounds, or even probably 1,000 rounds today. So if you have the L4S, put it down in the comments. How has this gun performed for you? How has it held up? How do you like it? Because it's one thing for me to share my perspective, but when you all share, everyone gets to get a little bit better idea of what this gun is made of. Let's dive into breaking this gun down. There's some cool features when it comes to breakdown on this gun, and I'm gonna try not to burn my hand on this hot barrel. Now this fore end is different, it's unique. So we're gonna screw this fore end cap off, and check this out. The fore end cap actually doesn't totally come off. It's attached to the fore end. And then there's a barrel nut that goes on. This actually retains the barrel, this orange piece right here. Orange, red, hold on, red. My glasses kind of make colors funky. What that does is it takes stress off the fore end, and then it also allows you to access the gun and take out the barrel and take out the trigger group without removing all of this stuff. Yeah, let's try that. Why not? Also, I noticed this fore end, there's no wiggle in it. Usually, and we'll show you when we put it back together, you get quite a bit of wiggle in the fore end where it meets the receiver. You see how this is cut in? So you get no wiggle. That is solid, that feels great. The L4S has a 2-pin design, and the pins are different, so they have to go in the right spot, which for a simple guy like me, that's asking a lot, you know. I wish the pins had a little dimple in them or something. It would be a little easier to get a punch on there. The trigger group's a little bit weird. You kind of have to push that back a little bit. We can access it that way, but you know what? What good is that? What good is it to be here? Because if I'm cleaning my gun or servicing it, I'm probably gonna take it all the way apart. So let's get that barrel nut off. Barrel nut off. Barrel, gas piston off. There is no spring in the rear of this shotgun. Everything takes place up front here, which is different than several other gas guns. The other day when I took this apart and cleaned it, which is what I do for every shotgun I review, I did find it challenging to get the bolt handle out. In fact, I used a channel locks with a rag over it, and I appear to be having a little bit, you know, maybe I got weak fingers. I don't know. It's a new gun, sometimes that happens. What the heck. Not the most ideal way, but hopefully that loosens up over time. So that slides off. Then we're left with the spring on the front. The gun's broke down. Now, one thing I found interesting with this gun, doing my initial cleaning, is this big piece of hardware here that's all attached to this release, mag latch release. It's just a lot of metal in there. It makes it really hard to get in there and clean really well. I do scrub in there a little bit, but I use a series of sprays and chemicals to flush that out. But a little more challenging to get in there and get all that clean. I like all the components. They look solid. Everything about this gun looks solid. Trigger group, again, it doesn't match the rest of the gun, right? Everything looks clean and sharp and polished and high quality, and the trigger group is just like, eh. But it is what it is. Let's slap this gun back together. Bolt goes in, nice and easy. I like that. Let's see if this goes in easier than it comes out. Kind of a little finesse job with the bolt. Hey, we're in. Look at that. Yes, sir. Barrel, nut. Forend on. It's kind of weird because it doesn't lock down. Normally it locks down and then you put the forend cap, but as you screw the forend cap, you'll start to see the gap between the forend and the receiver start to narrow until you're solid. And then, like I said, no wiggle in that forend. Like I'm wrenching on that, no wiggle. When the trigger group goes in, that latch piece is kind of in the way. You kind of got to put the trigger group in a way that pushes that back. There we go, clicks into place. This was our front pin. There we go. Boom, we're hot to trot. We're back at it, the L4S. Time to put it on the clock. Let's see how this gun shoots, how it mounts, how it cycles, the swing, everything. We're looking at it when it comes to speed shooting because we're on the clock. We gotta go fast, and I'm gonna notice all these things. Let's see what happens. Hey, we're on the clock. First go around, a 1.29. Not real fast. But hey, hit everything I shot at. It's a good start. Trigger. That trigger's getting me a little bit. Gotta get a feel for that trigger. I'm expecting it to break. I do this with heavier triggers. I'm expecting it to break and I'm actually letting off and never actually shooting. So if you see me going like that, that's what I'm doing. Gotta rip on that trigger. Like you mean it. It is a little bit weird with my hand positioning. Normally I'm just used to doing that, but now I gotta like rotate my hand around. Takes some getting used to there. There it is. I threw early, but that felt good. A 2.4 and a 2.2 split. That's actually pretty slow. 2.4 and a 2.2 split. We gotta see if we can get that a little bit faster. We got two good ones on the clock. We're getting faster. I had a 2.5 split and a 1.8 split. I can live with the 1.8. 2.5 is pretty slow, 0.73. I might have cheated a little bit. Yeah, it's pretty close. I had some good timing there. A 1.16 is decent. You know, if I sit out here and hammer at this for a while and get into a rhythm, I can pick up the pace, but out of curiosity, let's just see what type of splits I can get. That's pretty fast. What do we get for splits though? 1.7 split. I can live with that. Let's try it one more time, see if we can get any faster on those splits. That third split was the fastest. Yep, I was right. It was a 1.8 and a 1.7. I could tell in my brain that second split was 1/100th of a second faster. Well, enough of that. This gun can shoot fast. You know, when it came to the speed shooting, we got a pretty fast time. A 1.16 is pretty fast. Now it's different. If I sit out here and would go through 5 more boxes of ammo, I could pick that up. I could shoot it faster, but it just gives me a good feel for a relatively new gun to me. The mount seemed natural. I actually enjoyed mounting it. It pointed pretty well. It's a little whippy being a lighter gun, but a lot of field guns are. Recoil, a little bit more than I anticipated, to be honest with you. I know it's a sub 7-pound gun, but still for a nice gas system like this, I would expect a little less. The recoil pad could make a huge difference here. If you're willing to spend $2,000 plus on a semi-auto, get yourself a Falcon Strike. That's, you know, obviously I'm partnered with them, but they make a great product. Look at the reviews on them. A Falcon Strike would go a long ways on this gun. Overall, solid gun. My experience with Fabarm is they pay attention to a lot of details. They make very solid guns. A little bit different than some of the guns you might be used to, with the bolt release being on this side and the release here, and very solid construction, pretty looking gun, a lot of detail. I think it'd be a great upland gun. However, I did not enjoy shooting those Prairie Storms. It kicked pretty hard. If I was gonna be shooting a couple boxes of shells a day, I would notice it. If you're gonna be shooting a half box, probably not a big deal. Or maybe you're just tougher than me, and it's not a big deal. Pretty happy with this L4S. Again, if you have experience with this gun, love it, hate it, or indifferent, put it down in the comments, let us know. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. Remember, whether you're in the field or in life, you're only gonna hit those shots you're laser focused on. So live target focused. See ya.